Welcome to our story drama, Taking Back Nature, created by Azadeh and Shelby.
We used a book called A River Ran Wild by Lynn Cherry.
A little bit about Lynn Cherry. Lynn Cherry is a nature enthusiast who uses her 30-plus books to assist in campaigns to save the environment.
The story is about Nashua or Nashaway River, a river with pebble bottom, in one of the indigenous languages. It starts when the river was just a place for animals and plants to live in, and then also Aboriginal people were living on the side of the rivers. Then European settlers moved in and they created the city, they built factories. Unfortunately, the factories were dumping the pollution to the river, and the Aboriginal people were very concerned, so they sent letters to the factories and asked them to create waste management facilities instead of dumping it in the river. By the end of the book, the Nashua River is returned to its former glory.
So the reasons why we took this book for our story drama. It is a true historical event. It does tell a factual story. It connects with today's environmental issues like the Alberta oil sands, and it does bring in some indigenous perspectives into our lessons.
And we also chose it because it has curricular opportunities with science and social studies and language arts, of course. Science because in grade 4 there is a unit for waste management, and possibilities for drama are endless. Like there are many gaps in the story that the students can fill in by being mental of expert, and teachers can always insert themselves by being teacher in role, and the students can role play.
So for a grade 4 level, this is a really good story because it is not an obvious story with a happy ending. It is a story that tells a factual event. It has a lot of cross-curricular connections, science with Unit A, social studies, and does bring in some Aboriginal perspectives and experiences which will show up in our new curriculum. And it also is a good book because these illustrations are engaging. Here's an example of one of the illustrations. There are a lot of pictures throughout the book around the words. So we do have our regular page sized illustrations, but we also have borders with illustrations of different artifacts that will show up in the book.
And the key understanding and questions for our story drama is caring for environment and how can we do that, connections to current event, the battles that we are facing to protect environment in our societies today. For example, in Alberta about oil sands and oil industry, and different perspectives about preserving nature. For example, oil industry owners and environmentalists and governments.
So some activities that we can consider in our story drama. So storytelling is a really big example that we could use. We can get students to take on specific perspectives like the Aboriginal people who first came to Nashua and created their villages on its banks. We can take the European farmers who clear-cutted the woods. We can take the city settlers who created the factories and polluted the river.
And we can also have students to make tableaus in groups of 4 to 6, and they can take different perspectives and make a tableau related to that perspective.
Another thing we can get the students to do is create a writing campaign. We can get students to look at their environment around them, create letters, taking on the perspective of concerned citizens and writing letters to the editor detailing plans on how to save the environment.
We can also have the students to do a mock court debate and divide the class into half, and one side have the perspective of factory owners and the other side is the opposite perspective of environmentalists, and they bring reasons why either of them are right or wrong, and then they also have to take to do some research and be the mental of expert.
So thank you for listening to our story drama proposal. Here is our resources.
I hope you enjoyed it.